People's Platform.
Good evening and welcome to the People's Platform. My guest tonight is a former Sri Lanka cricket captain, a former ICC match referee and a key member of the 1996 Cricket World Cup winning team. I'm so pleased to welcome to the show Roshan Mahanama. Good evening and welcome, Roshan.
Good evening, Sonali.
Roshan, we meet today in a different capacity. You're the founder chairperson of the Roshan Mahanama Trust. Speak to us about this journey that you've embarked on, as well as the key focus of your trust.
Sonali, we set up the trust about 14 months ago based on the work that I've been doing in the past. I also want to mention this to the viewers that it's not something that I started in the recent past. This is something that I've been doing for quite some time. Even after the tsunami, when everyone decided to go down south with my father, we set up a trust then, and we did so many projects, and our first project was in Kalamanchikude. So over the years we've been doing it, and I just thought the time was right for me to set up my own trust. People might wonder why I'm using my name, but I just thought because I have been doing it in the past and also have been able to build confidence, I thought it was important to use the name to go out and reach out to people to get their support. And the trust was formed with the intention of supporting the less privileged people. I know quite a number of people, they do that as one of their CSR projects or a celebrity responsibility, or if we want to just help people. But I felt that if I was going to set up a trust, I need to do it in a professional manner. One of the first things that we did was we got some like-minded trustees. It's run by a group of independent trustees. The bookkeeping is done by Amarasekar and Company, and the auditing is done by E&Y. Even after the first 6 months, we didn't want to wait until we finished the second cycle of the work that we do. We did the auditing completed for the first 6 months. We completed that yesterday. That's one of the things that we want to do, and to be transparent, and also we feel that we are accountable to the donors.
Right. Children are disproportionately affected by the multitude of crises that Sri Lanka is going through at the moment. We hear of school dropouts, malnourishment, sexual abuse. All of this is rampant. How does your trust hope to address these issues?
Sonali, we felt that when we set up the trust, we have to have a key focus area. Unanimously, everyone felt that our focus should be children. I'm involved in about 10 to 12 charities. Out of that, I function as the brand ambassador of 8 of them, right, and also function as a trustee of about 3 of the trusts. And we felt that through any of these organizations that I'm working with, at the end of the day, the person or the people who suffer are the children. So I feel that's our future. That's where we need to support. And we have identified areas, key areas that we should focus on. We've got 4 pillars. We want to give a solid education. If they require support, we get requests, and if we do have funds, we help them in their education. Then we look into their health and well-being.
Right.
That again, we focus on kids with disability or children with pediatric, or the focus area is pediatric cancer. Also creating a safe and secure environment for these children, and I'll talk a bit about the work that we do in those areas. And also we have something called emergency intervention to support people in periods like what we are going through right now. For the last 8 to 10 months, we've been supporting the cardiac ICU of the Lady Ridgeway Hospital by buying them consumables, as well as providing them with key medicines that they require. We work closely with those doctors. So these are the key areas, and whenever we have a fundraiser, we allocate funds for these areas for us to use in as and when it's needed, or as and when we get a request. So the education side comes under emergency intervention, but if we talk about health and well-being, I'm part of Sri Lanka's first Center of Excellence for Kids with Disability. It's called IATI. It's at the Faculty of Medicine in Ragama. It's a public-private partnership, a 550 million rupee project. We made it a reality and opened it about 3.5 years ago. It's up and running, and we have about 12,000 children who are registered up to now. But it's not about building these centers, it's about sustaining and running. And through my trust, we try to raise funds to support, and recently we supported IATI as there was a requirement there. Also, I'm part of Sri Lanka's first pediatric palliative care center. It is walking distance from the Apeksha hospital. We opened it on the 29th of this year. When we embarked on the journey, the estimate was 430 million. When we completed it, it was 860 million. We are still short of about 50 million rupees to settle some of the bills. But there again, it's all about sustaining and running. So through my trust, we try to raise funds, and out of a project that we do, we allocate funds to support as and when they need our support. And also that's under health and well-being, creating a safe and secure environment. Children being abused, that's something that is increasing by the day. We have already got a couple of donors to build Sri Lanka's second center for children who've been sexually and physically abused. That will be at the Karapitiya hospital. That again will be a public-private partnership, and we'll build and we'll hand it over to the hospital for them to run. We will be laying the foundation stone for that on the 4th of January, that's next month. So that comes under creating a safe and secure environment. So we try our best to keep these children comfortable in whatever way we could. And the identified areas, what we thought was that areas, these are some of the areas that people don't focus a lot. And also during my overseas travel in the recent past, some come up to me and say that, okay, I want to support a hospital or a project in the north. Some want to support a project in the east and maybe in the south. But I say, I want to support Sri Lanka. So wherever there is a requirement, I don't mind taking it to these places. And with Lamapia, so that's the center for children who've been sexually and physically abused, we have only one now. That's at again the Faculty of Medicine in Ragama, but technically they have to have 9 centers in the country, one in each province. If and when we make this project a reality, I feel we might be able to get some support to build some centers at the other provinces as well.
Okay, how has the reception been for the trust so far? You have also spoken about the trust, engaged in fundraising tours overseas. Speak to us about that as well.
Our first fundraising project was in Dubai. That was in February this year. That was just the start, and the response have been amazing. I'll take this opportunity to thank the Sri Lankans and the friends who are living overseas for coming forward to support. I feel, Sonali, from my point of view, we've survived crisis after crisis after crisis is because of these people. They've never neglected the country. They've always come forward to support. And whenever I've told some of my friends, because you need someone to organize these events, they have come forward to support and organize an event to raise funds. I've had events in Dubai, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, so on and so forth. We have not had one here in Sri Lanka, so we picked this period. I'm sure we'll talk about it as we go along.
Absolutely. We are in conversation with Roshan Mahanama. We're going for a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
The People's Platform.
Inflation, exchange rates, and the rise and fall of the stock market. Bringing you insights into the business world. Watch the Business Buzz every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. on TV1.
ඡන්ද නෑ මොන ඡන්දද අපිට කන්නවත් නැතුව කියන තැනට තමයි ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් මේක හරිවල් ජාතික මෙහෙවරතුලින් කතා බහ කරන එය දේශපාලනයේ විය හැකි ආර්ථිකයේ විය හැකි කාලීන ප්‍රවණතා විය හැකි.
ජාතික මෙහෙවර සතියේ දිනවල උදෑසන 11ට.
අභිමන් සර්ගේ කුරුළු මැඩම්ගේ ලව් හුටප්පරේ නිසා මට නම් හිතෙන්නේ මේ ඔෆිස් එක වහන තැනටම වැඩ සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
අපි හම්බ වෙන්න යන්නේ ලොකු ගණදෙනුවකට. තමුන්ට ලක්ෂ ගණනක සුවිප්තයක් ඇදෙන්න යනවා කියලා හිතනවාකෝ.
මම ගයත්‍රයට ලං වෙලා ඉන්නවා දකින්නකොට කුරුළු අප්සෙට් යන්නේ ඇයි? එයා මට ආදරේ නැත්තම් එහෙම වෙන්න හේතුවක් නැහෙනි. තේරෙන විදිහට කියනවාද මොකද සිද්ධ වුනේ කියලා?
කුරුළු මට ගෙවුවා.
නීල පබලු අද රාත්‍රී 9ට සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්. තුන්කල් දකින රටේ හදගැස්ම දැනෙන අධිෂ්ඨානයෙන් නොසැලෙන බලවේගය. ලොකු පොඩි හැම ගමකටම අඩිය තැබූ දුක සොයා යන චාරිකාව. ජනහද දිනුම් නිකැරල් විශ්වාසය ගම්මැද්ද. හැම තැනම හැම දෙනාම එක් අරමුණකට එක් කළ දශක දෙකක්. වරප්‍රසාද අහිමි අත්හල අපේම මිනිසුන්ගේ දුක වේදනාව සියසින් දැක දුෂ්කර වුවත් ජන සැනසුම දෙන නිසි සැලසුම නිවැරදි තොරතුරු සත්‍යතාව ක්‍රියාත්මක වීම මේ ගම්මැද්දේ දර්ශනයයි. ජන ජීවිතයේ වෙනස වෙනුවෙන්ම බිහි වූ වෙනස.
ගම්මැද්ද made in Sri Lanka.
TV1 TV for life.
3 Sri Lankans serving in the Ukraine army killed in Russian attack. Russia-India joint venture to operate Mattala airport. Price formula to be introduced for water tariff. Parliament to meet on Sunday to approve VAT hike. Opposition alleges attempts to prorogue Parliament in a bid to dismantle Parliament committees. Father of one dead after wall collapses at Henavala Hospital in Kadugannawa.
TV1 TV for life. The People's Platform.
Welcome back. We are in conversation with the founder chairperson of the Roshan Mahanama Trust, Roshan Mahanama. Roshan, speak to us about the importance of citizens themselves recognizing that they too have a duty of care. They too have a societal responsibility, because at times it does become frustrating when successive governments don't really perform their duty by the citizen. So people tend to feel frustrated, there's a sense of apathy. But why is it still important for citizens to engage in giving, in making sure that the other person is also looked after?
From my point of view, Sonali, we should not wait for governments or other institutions to start projects of this nature, the projects that I spoke to you about before. We do have a responsibility living in a country like ours. Sri Lanka was moved away from a low income earning country to a middle income earning country, I think around 2016-17. At that point, SOS Children's Villages invited me to be their brand ambassador because they felt that they were losing out on some of the funding and they wanted someone to promote the cause. But since we've gone backwards in the last few years, they have now got funds to support and look into other areas as well. So if you're living in a country like ours, I think we need to spare a thought to the fellow citizens, our brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, whoever, and that's one of our responsibilities. I don't know whether a lot of people will know some of these statistics. We were in the top 6 of the World Giving Index about 5 or 6 years ago. The closest countries to us was Australia and New Zealand. These are first world countries, we are third world countries. I know it's quite hard for people, but with all that, we have come forward to support one another, and I feel that we need to keep doing that. That's one of our traits, that's one of our qualities, and we need to pass this on to the younger generation. I think they see it differently sometimes, but they too come forward to support some of these causes in their own way. But this is something that we will have to do until we have a group of people who will make the lives of our citizens comfortable.
Speaking about corporates, the corporate sector, the business sector, they too have a key role to play. Most companies have a CSR budget. How can the business community assist or be a part of such initiatives?
I mentioned before that we should be thankful to the fellow Sri Lankans who are living overseas and their friends and some of these donor agencies, but I also must say that we should be thankful to our corporates. They have always come forward to support worthy causes. They have not looked the other side when their support was required. They'll come forward if it's natural disaster, you name it. And even some of these projects, I know it's not fair for me to mention some of the names because I might miss out, but even Ayati is backed by 2 leading corporates. Then Suarana, there are a couple of corporates that has come forward to support. Even the Suarana, the center that we are going to build, these are people who are living overseas but they have businesses here, so they have come forward. And there have been a few companies who have worked with me in the past. They have helped me to buy pediatric cancer medication. They have also helped me to supply consumables to the Lady Ridgeway Hospital, like I mentioned before. And I recently received an email from another top corporate to see whether they can join hands with us to support some of these projects. So like I mentioned before, if these organizations want to focus or look into disability, yes, we have Ayati. They want to look at pediatric cancer, we have Suarana, and also if they want to focus on areas such as children who've been sexually and physically abused, we have Lama PSS. So these are areas where these children are neglected. And I also want to say, some might feel that why are we focusing on projects that are in and around Colombo? But these are national centers. Now I know there are other centers that focus on children with disability, but the national center is Ayati. So these children, if they can come to Colombo, get professional guidance, it will help the child. Suarana, everyone thinks that there are other in other provinces there are wards, but the only pediatric cancer ward is at the Apeksha hospital, so they have to come down to Colombo. So these are national centers. So I think if we support causes, even the cardiac ICU of the Lady Ridgeway Hospital, if children have to go go through heart surgery, they have to come to Colombo. So these centers need support, and I know corporates have been supporting, and they could join hands with us to make the lives of these children comfortable.
In terms of the sustainability of these projects and initiatives, how successful have you been, and have you put in a set of procedures to ensure that the sustainability aspect is there?
That's one of the things that we are focusing through the Roshan Mahanama Trust, especially for Ayati and Suwarna. Like I mentioned the figures as well. We managed to complete these 2 centers, but the challenge is to sustain and run. That's where we need the support of like-minded corporates as well as like-minded individuals. I will not wait for anyone to push me, but through our trust we will do our best to try and raise funds. Recently I was in India, met a group of high net worth individuals as well as some of these donor agencies to see whether they would like to focus on some of these areas and partner the Roshan Mahanama Trust going forward. So I've been spending my time, whereas a lot of people would use that time to monetize for themselves, but I'm trying my best to try and raise funds for these causes that I have agreed to support. So to sustain, it's not easy, but by saying that, we should not just wait but keep trying and get support. We've come this far. I think it's about 3.5 to 4 years now since we opened it. Suwarna just 4-5 months, but we get support from SLAMNA, that's Sri Lanka Medical Association of North America, and so on, that again a group of Sri Lankans who are living there. And even for Suwarna, I've got 2 individuals, one from Australia, one from England. They are Sri Lankans who have come forward to fund and support. They do have their businesses. So once we build, if the corporates can join hands with us to sustain and run, that's what we are looking for. I'm also looking at donor agencies or other high net worth individuals from overseas to see whether they could support us on some of these causes.
In terms of the coordination with stakeholders such as government agencies, the state itself, what is the...
We need to get their support whether we like it or not. IATI comes under the health ministry.
Right.
Suwarna will come under the health ministry, so we will leave it up to the hospitals or those individuals to coordinate, but we'll give them whatever documents that they require. We'll work closely with them to see that we get the support as well. We need these government institutions also to partner us. That's why I said it will be a public-private partnership, and we have to work with them. But with some of the projects that we do, we might not partner them. But even if you go into remote places, like if you want to give school items to a school, you have to get the regional office people involved because there are certain approvals that they need to get. So but what we do is we get those institutions or those people to get the necessary approvals, but we'll back them by giving them the required documents and so on. And I must mention, whoever who's been supporting me, whoever who's been part of or who is part of my trust, they are doing a voluntary service. No one gets paid, and we want to keep our expenses to the bare minimum. There will be a certain amount that will be allocated for administration purposes. Also, there is a very long process to get charity status. We unfortunately have to allocate certain funds to be paid as taxes, but these are things that the government can help us. We are not raising funds for us, we are raising funds to be of service to the less privileged.
My final question to you, the Roshan Mahanama Trust is planning its first fundraising project in Sri Lanka. Speak to us about it.
We thought it was about time that we have a fundraising project in Sri Lanka. We couldn't have asked for a better period. We decided that we'll use the Christmas period. It's called Lights of Love, where people can purchase a bulb. A bulb will be 1,000 rupees. We came up with 1,000 rupees so that we allow everyone, each and everyone, to come forward to support. It's a very simplified campaign. If they want to donate, they can donate through www.roshanmahanamatrust.com. That's our website details. The Christmas tree will be placed at the Havelock City Mall from the 8th, and it will be there until the 31st of December, and a bulb will cost 1,000 rupees. So we want to have as many bulbs as possible. Our aim is to try and raise 5 million rupees. So our aim is to sell 5,000 bulbs. So I request everyone to come forward and be part of this campaign, and also show your support towards the Roshan Mahanama Trust.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, Roshan, for your time.
Thank you, Sonali.
Thank you for watching us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.